Last week on Easter Sunday, I noticed a promotional tweet showed up in my Twitter feed, an advertisement paid for by the Mormon Church, promoting Mormonism on Easter Sunday. Let's talk about Mormonism and the Book of Mormon. Many people may think that it's just a denomination of Christianity, like Protestant or Southern Baptist, but it is so much weirder. I'm sorry, so much more. I'll try to be nice about this. You may have been approached by Mormons carrying the Book of Mormon in parking lots of grocery stores. And first of all, we have to say that it's extremely strange that if they're trying to win souls over for Christ, if they're Christians, they don't even have the gospel, the story of Jesus' birth, life, teachings, death, and resurrection. They have the Book of Mormon, which they claim is the third testament of the Bible. It's not the New Testament, it's another testament. It's the newest testament. Basically, a man named Joseph Smith claimed that an angel appeared to him in 1820 when he was 14 years old after he asked God which church he should join, saying that he was told to join none of them because they were all corrupt. And 3 years later, he says that an angel named Moroni appeared to him and told him where to go and find some golden plates that were supposedly buried in upstate New York. These gold tablets, he said, had a written history of an ancient Christian culture that lived in the Americas between 600 BC and 400 AD. From these alleged plates, fabricated story, he supernaturally translated the Book of Mormon, which was first published in 1830. He claimed that a prophet named Mormon compiled the teachings in the tablets from the ancient wisdom, and they were supposedly written in an ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, since his need to supernaturally translate them using two magical stones. The Book of Mormon, where are these golden tablets, you may say? Well, after he supposedly, supernaturally translated by looking through this stone with a hole in it, the angel took them away back to heaven. No, they're not in the, the Natural History Museum or even in the Mormon Temple. Nope, they just disappeared. The Mormon myth is so strange, so bizarre. I mean, there are various theories regarding the actual origin of the, authorship of the Book of Mormon. I mean, it's clear that Joseph Smith and several of his friends wrote the book and plagiarized large portions of it from other texts. One such book was published prior to Smith supposedly finding the golden plates, titled View of the Hebrews by Ethan Smith, 7 years before the Book of Mormon was published, and many scholars have concluded that this is a major source of information for Smith and the Book of Mormon, since it proposed the theory that the Native Americans were actually Israelites. Joseph Smith was known to be involved with Freemasonry, and that also helped him concoct his scheme. Any unbiased researcher will conclude that the Mormon texts are clearly not divinely inspired. They are not a testament of Jesus Christ. They are simply a fraud. I urge you, if you are a Mormon, to watch this film, DNA versus the Book of Mormon, in full on YouTube, and The Lost Book of Abraham. Every single linguist in the world has stated that the supposed hieroglyphics, the reformed Egyptian, that the Book of Mormon was the golden plates, quote unquote, were said to have been written in, is a language that simply does not exist. Does not exist. Now, the Mormon fables of finding the golden plates parallels with the story of the Rosicrucian manifestos in the early 1600s. A manuscript was said to have been discovered at the tomb of a man named Christian Rosenkreutz, and the book claimed to contain ancient wisdom that he had acquired from his journey to far-off lands. Also very similar to the legend of Enoch, which include some gold and brass plates engraved with ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs containing the history of the world and the ancient mysteries of God that supposedly were designed to survive the flood. Just a couple more points here. The Yes, I have the Book of Mormon. I tried reading it. Many Mormons will say, "Have you prayed?" Yes, I prayed about it. I said, "God, is the Book of Mormon really real?" And God laughed and he said, "Okay, you're joking, right, Mark?" I've tried to read this just horribly written con job, and it's just a joke. I think like every third sentence starts with, "And then it came to pass. And then it came to pass that this happened, and then this happened, and then it came to pass that this happened." In the Book of Mormon, a prophet called Nephi allegedly, wrote the tablets, the golden tablet, in 600 to 500 BC. But somehow he was able to quote the books of Matthew, Luke, Peter, and Paul from the New Testament verbatim centuries before they were even written. In Alma 46:15 in the Book of Mormon, believers are called Christians. In 73 BC, when Acts 11:26 in the Bible says they were first called Christians in Antioch in about 43 AD. Yeah, they were originally called just the Way, followers of the Way or the Truth. Also, the word Christ is used in the Book of Mormon without any explanation why Jews living in America would use a Greek word instead of the Hebrew Messiah. Bees are said to be living in America in 2000 BC in the Book of Mormon in Esther 2:3, only they were first brought to the New World by Spanish explorers much, much later. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints continues to praise the Book of Mormon because it has gone far out on a limb by saying that the message was translated divinely from the golden plates, and it is the foundation of Mormonism. And at this point, it's just almost impossible for them to back down graciously. It's astounding that the organization is so huge. It's as if Mormons just simply never, Googled the Book of Mormon. Absolutely astounding. Oh, I mean, do I need to get into them believing that they, evolve into a god and that God lives on the planet Kolob and all this strange stuff? And by the way, I mean, one of their foundational beliefs is that the Native Americans in North America and South America, they believed were actually the ancient Israelites who they said migrated to America. And, when Joseph Smith was peddling this fraud back in the 1830s, obviously there was no DNA. But now we have this little thing called DNA, and every single scientist, except for the Mormon ones, who are either frauds or just in such denial, it's incredible, have concluded that the Native Americans did not descend from the ancient Israelites, but instead from East Asia. Anyway, again, no need to offend, but many Mormons will just start going off. This is terrible. This is a fraud. No, you're in denial. You have a mental block because you have swallowed such bullcrap over the years. You're so indoctrinated, so invested emotionally, spiritually into this Masonic fraud that you just simply would be so devastated to admit to yourself that you have been so duped by a fraud. And again, quite shameful that they would pay for a promotional tweet on Easter Sunday when perhaps non-Christians are, maybe thinking about spirituality, trying to come to Christ, and leave it to the Mormons to divert them down this, Disney movie fantasy fraud, really. But I'm sure at the higher levels of Mormonism, when the people start to realize that this is a bunch of crap, they just justify it to themselves by saying, well, it's the ancient mystery religion packaged in a new allegory, and now you're ready to reveal to understand the real truth. It's not a fraud. It was just an allegory to convey to you the ancient mystery school teachings and yada, yada, yada. But again, one of my biggest pet peeves with the Mormons is that every time I bump into them in a parking lot or wherever they are trying to suck people into their cult, they only have in their hand the Book of Mormon. I would think if you're going to try to teach people about Christians, about Jesus, if you claim to be a Christian, if you want people to follow Jesus, I would think that maybe you would have the New Testament of the Bible. I mean, maybe not even the whole thing. Maybe just the Gospels. The first 4 books. in the New Testament. Very short. You could read it in a couple hours. The book that actually contains the teachings, the life, death, resurrection teachings, ministry of Jesus Christ. Not the Third Testament of the Bible. What an absolute fraud. Absolutely just ridiculous. Anyway, sorry, I'm trying to be nice about this, but perhaps time to pull the plug on your Mormon moronicness. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're new. Check out some of the previous videos and the playlists. Stay tuned. There are more videos coming soon. Oh, by the way, there's a chapter on Mormonism in my 2005 book, The Resistance Manifesto. You can check it out in paperback on Amazon.com or download it right now onto any e-reader or tablet. There's more videos coming soon.